A very good evening, dear viewers. Welcome to yet another episode of our Family Hour here at Church of Uganda Family TV. My beautiful name is Clare Bwenje, your world's favorite host. It's yet another exciting Friday, yes. And don't forget that this Family Hour is in partnership with Life Ministry Uganda. You can always check them out on their website, social media platforms. They will be happy and very glad to hear from you. Well, as usual, Fridays are all about parenting. Our theme is parenting, and we usually don't disappoint. So today, this very evening, we are not going to disappoint you. We have a very amazing topic. And guess what? The guests are more than you can imagine. They are the right people sent to us by God to discuss this very topic. Well, dear viewer, our topic this evening is positive reinforcement and building self-esteem in children. And to discuss this is a great couple. Let me just say the Matsikos, and I will return to you with their bio for you to get to know deeper about them. Why don't they just come briefly and say hello to us, and then I'll get back to you, letting you know who they are at a deeper level. You're most welcome.
Thank you, Claire.
The Matsikos.
Gladly.
Happy to have you on the show.
Glad.
Thank you.
10 years and you're here glowing and shining like this. I love the matching. The red is just there. Showing us that we are actually,
Thank God.
wow, that we are a couple match made from heaven.
Yes.
Wow.
We thank
Please
God.
say hello to the viewers and then we start our show.
Hello, viewers. A very good evening. We are very delighted to be here with you, and thank you for watching, and blessings. Thank you.
Hello, viewers. Thank you for being here. We are glad to be here sharing with you what we have.
Hey, Mama, I like Emily's voice. Well, Emily's a pure Mgole. Happy to have you on the show. And dear viewer, please don't forget that the Family Hour comes to you Monday to Friday under different themes. And today, Friday, we are here basically talking about everything, anything concerning parenting. And our guests, like you already had, they said hello to you. Briefly about them, Caleb and Emily Tugume Matsiko are committed born-again Christians who have been married for 10 years. Oh, 10 years. Okay, how long have I been married? Oh, add, subtract, divide. And God has blessed them with 3 lovely children. They are devoted children and youth ministers. Caleb adhered to a calling into children and youth ministry right through his high school and university days. Caleb is a professional administrator and has served as a diocesan youth worker, a Sunday school teacher, and has spoken to various children and youth groups. While Emily is a deliberate homemaker, holds a master's degree in organizational leadership and management, and has meticulously served with Compassion International and Uganda Christian University. The couple treasures the institution of marriage based on biblical principles, cherishes godly values for both marriage and parenting, and are cognizant of the fact that parenting is a heavenly ordained mandate based on Malachi chapter 2, verse 15, to bring forth a godly offspring. The couple also belongs to Home Builders, Bible study fellowships under the Life Ministry Uganda. You know, when you've worked hard, the bio is not just a cartoon, it's that long. Oh, nange chimbeko mulinya lya Yesu, because that people will read and ask for a glass of water. Anyways, happy to have you here, and it's a pleasure, it's a joy for you to come and offer yourselves to speak to the viewers out there. Like you already know, our topic this evening is positive reinforcement and building self-esteem in children. And for starters, really, I know you're ready, and why am I really wasting your time? But for the benefit of our viewers out there, would you please tell us what positive reinforcement is all about? What does it mean?
Thank you so much, Claire. As I have already said, it is a great joy that we can be here together, learning together about parenting. Parenting is something that is so dear to me, and I am grateful that God has blessed my wife and I with 3 lovely children. Hallelujah. We love them and we thank God for them. They are 2 lovely boys and 1 beautiful girl. Mm-hmm. And we are so thankful.
Amen.
Talking about positive reinforcement. See, reinforcement is adding value to something, adding support to an aspect. Mm-hmm. Growing up, I used to see my parents, my father and my grandfather. I grew up in Chabjimbi, Bwenje. Mm-hmm. So we plant matoke. So they would go and send us to the forest to go cut trees and make stakes for reinforcing the strength of the banana plant so that it doesn't fall. I understand positive reinforcement in children as helping a child to do better in that thing that he's doing. He is doing a particular thing, let it be reading, let it be home chores, let it be in organizing a home, organizing utensils or his books or his shoes, helping them do that thing that they are doing in a better way. There is a value, there is an activity, there is an aspect they are participating in, and as a parent, you help them do better. Or even if they were not doing so good, you encourage them, you inspire them to become better at that they are doing. And as a parent, I'm convinced, and I would want to challenge you, dear parents, watching with us tonight, that is what we are called to do. We are called to be the first cheerleaders, of our children. Help them, spur their efforts, spur their energies, and help them scale their heights.
Wow, I really appreciate that. Where you mentioned that as parents, we are actually supposed to be our children's #1 cheerleaders. Wow, that's amazing. So, what is the best example that you can actually give?
Talking about positive reinforcement, I'm sure we have parents online of different age groups. If you are talking about a toddler, I teach Sunday school, and when we go to our classes, we separate children according to their ages: 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 12, and the teenagers. So, for instance, for a toddler who is learning to speak, and they are greeting you, ma, 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 I love the way the mothers do it. They help this toddler to enhance their speech. You're encouraging them, you're inspiring them, you're helping them, you're supporting them to better their speech. And you see, children are created in a very unique way, and God is amazing. So the child realizes that my mother or my father is happy about this that I'm saying, is happy that I'm beginning to have some words out of my mouth. So this child also responds, okay? You're positively encouraging them, you're spurring them, you're uplifting their effort in that regard. If it is a child between 3 and 4 and 5, and there are simple aspects like tying their shoelaces, instead of like, you can't even tie your shoelaces, just say you're putting on bananas, but you encourage them, you have tried, but I can help you do it better. You're now encouraging them. So a child grows up and their esteem is so high. Do you know why? No, they feel, Mommy values me, Daddy values me, I am doing the right thing, let me do it a lot better so that they are able to appreciate me even a lot better, okay? And for children that are maybe in primary school and upper primary or secondary, they may be struggling with academics. So me as a father, as a parent, it's my role to sit down with this son of mine who is struggling with math, and I let them know, oh, you see, last time you had 49, but now you have 53. I am grateful you have made an improvement. Though it is not to a level that I would desire it, I pray that next time, go concentrate, make sure you come back with at least a 60 or something. So this child goes back to school knowing, okay, I was not the best in class, but my parents appreciated my performance, and I'm determined to even do a lot better, you know. And Claire, do you know that sometimes it's us parents who so much demean our children and we let them, you know, suffer very low self-esteem. Students have sat their end of year exams in P7 and senior 4, and results come, and you're like, you're so stupid, you're so. Where do you leave them? That this child grows up thinking, okay, you see, even mommy said I'm stupid. Even daddy said I cannot make it in life. And they begin from this kind of, they suffer deep within this kind of inferiority, deep inferiority complex. Okay, their self-esteem is low, so they're on the road, or they're burning a taxi, or they're doing something, and somebody's like, you fool. They're like, okay, you have only confirmed what my mother said. So their own understanding of their self-worth is so much below zero. They are unable to appreciate that they are full of worth. But you see, as parents, as my wife and I, we are called to a place of helping our children, and this is what we have agreed as a family philosophy. We are called to a place of helping our children and those under our sphere of influence to inspire them, to encourage them, to know that they can do better, to know that even when they have failed at this point, they are capable of doing much better.
Wow, this is great, and I like the way even Emily is looking at you. I think this is actually thinking so properly, and I really appreciate you, Mr. Matsiko. Before Emily comes in, I would like, actually, what you're saying really, as parents, really, they are the small things that matter in the lives of children.
Exactly.
It's not, buying these big gifts and everything, but just, when the child is saying something and you're responding to it.
Yes.
But I'm also asking my question now. We are in a very busy world, and sometimes it can be so stressful.
True.
And you return home, you're so tired, you're so stressed, you're thinking about tomorrow. And then the children, come so excited because they have been having a whole day at home,
Yes.
and they want to, to have a quality time with their parents. But then you, honestly, in your trueness, you're tired. How do you deal with that?
Thank you, Claire. There are times I've moved out for work, and sometimes you move out very early in the morning, they are still in bed, you have not spent a whole day with them, you come back in the evening, and they're excited. You see, as a parent, as a father, I'm expected to be the head of my family. And my head is not just, physical. My headship of my family should go so much deep even into emphasizing the emotional growth, the emotional development, the attachment I have with my wife. I need to make that time. Somebody said that whatever you value, you'll make time for it. I need to go out there and make the money that I can make. But I'm also cognizant of the fact that I need time with my wife, I need time with our sons, and we need time with our daughter. Even when I am tired, I need to make that time. But also wisdom would require that even when I am at work, at my workplace, I am chanced that they give us, we're allowed annual leave. At that time, I intentionally take my leaves during holidays. So that I spend that time with my wife, with our children, at home. Even when I have engagements, they are not as frequent as they are during the normal working period. So practical tips. Even when you are that exhausted, make a minute for your children. When you have leave periods, go and spend them with your children. However short they may be. The other ways that we've done, my wife and I, creating time for our children is that we go with them. If it is church, we go with them. The other day we were visiting a matron, and it was after some time. We're like, no, we must go with you. We go with them. There are these other events. My wife and I, sometimes we have been invited for engagements over the weekend, and we are required to prioritize. I have been away. We have been away from our children for the whole week, and it is a Saturday. And Claire, you want us for your event, and it is in Masaka, and we are traveling from Bwenje, and we are going to Masaka. We realize we are going to spend the whole weekend away. So we approach Claire and we let her know, Claire, we love you this much. You're so dear to us. But we have been away for a full week. We are unable to be present with you. And the reason we are not going to be unable is that we need time together. You see, Claire, life sometimes is about priorities.
Priority, yes.
We need to make the money, we need to attend our friends' functions, we need to be involved in the community engagements, Rotary, fellowships, and all these other things. But we must also prioritize. Prioritize our children, prioritize our families. And you know what such a thing does to the self-esteem of a child? A child grows knowing, okay, mommy values me, daddy values me, okay? And it carries along with them, and they treasure it. And they're like, okay, I am loved by daddy. But speak to them these words.
Wow, thank you very much, Matsiko. And I actually like where this whole thing is taking us to. I think days ago I met a friend who was actually a fan of this show, and he was actually telling me, you know what, Claire, you always host people to give us tips in our marriages, and we are so excited. But there is one thing that I usually never understand: how people say, as husbands, we should actually give, time to our wives and everything. And I hope maybe Emily will come in at that. She'll come and explain actually what as women we are talking about when you talk about quality time with your husband. And then he was like, I look for money Monday to Sunday. I don't see money. And you want me to come and sit at home, but you want quality time. When there is no money, you will be, upset. And when I go to look for money, you want quality time. So please clear the air, because I know everywhere I walk, people just tell me, no, that one doesn't sync properly. Will you clear the air, Emily?
No, Claire, you are putting me into something that is that is complex, and maybe which
will help you.
Maybe which would need another time. But what I can say is that when it comes to parenting, when it comes to building our marriages, you really have got to do something. He has said, he has talked about making sure that you have time for your family, for your children, for your wife, but you have to sacrifice something. You either have to sacrifice that extra money that you want to look for on a Saturday or on a Sunday, and you say, okay, if we eat meat every day, or maybe you cut off something and you save time for your marriage and for your children. That's what I can say, because for me, I have done it actually. There are things I have cut down financially, and I'm saving time for my husband and for my children, basically taking care of home. And you know what? You will not lack. That's what I can assure them, that you cannot lack if you decide to do that. Because God knows that even this that you're supposed to do at home is your role, and He will provide. Actually, He will. He cannot disappoint. So you have to do it knowing that you're not doing it just for yourself, but you're also doing it for God, and He will not disappoint you. If you decide that I am going to be at home this time, I will not go. Trust me, you go the following day, you go and you open the shop, and people may become more than they have been coming. I am just thinking, but there are ways that God is going to provide for you if you decide to do what is right, what you are supposed to do. So sacrifice, you can try it. You can try it for 1 week. It may not be easy. The second week, the third week, and by the time you get to know, you're actually used to being at home when you're supposed to be there, and it is okay. And it is okay. At first it can be hard, but when you do it consistently, you find that it is no longer hard. Yes.
Wow. Thank you, Emily. I know that the air is now cleared a little bit, but these things people understand them and take them differently. That's why we always have to, clear the air all the time. And thank you very much. Well, would you please highlight some areas that need extra attention concerning positive reinforcement?
There's actually all areas of life need some kind of reinforcement in a child concerning building their self-esteem. First of all, they've got to know who they are in the Lord, and that starts by you, parent at home, the way you do it. So one of the areas my husband has already talked about, academics. That is one of the ways that children find it hard, especially if they are not doing well. You expect them to bring grades which are, they are high. But whatever grade that the child gets, it is you, the parent, to encourage the child, not to put him down. There are those who can actually give them slaps and what, but it is you to be like, no, you are at this level, you have gotten a 50, no, it is okay. Next time, I know that you can make it. We have had a child who struggles with mathematics, and it is not like it is really a complex thing. And sometimes you really see that surely there is some kind of carelessness or what, but still, you do not demoralize the child. You tell them, no, you can make it. I know. Actually, that very point where you see that he's weak, I know that it is because you're not concentrating on this. If you concentrate, you will get a 70, you will get a 90, and when they get it, appreciate them. Just boost them up and let them know that you are appreciating, that you see that they have improved. So in area of academic, they need that reinforcement. And you have to provide for them. Sometimes they can be careless. Today they lose their pens, the second day they lose their pencil, those things. The way you talk to them when such things happen also builds them or destroys them. So if you see that this child has a problem during class, either they are the ones who are losing things, instead of saying, I am tired, if you were not doing it, I will not give you another one until you have got. Trust me, they will go to school, they will not study, and they will feel all the whole day. But be like, you know what, next time, make sure you keep your pens here and here in the bags. And when you have lost the pen, report. And when they report, the way you respond matters. So that is also on academics. And definitely in other areas, in class, there are those who can be a problem, definitely. And the teachers are telling you, like, this child, we don't know what is wrong with him. Some of them are really very stubborn. They are very stubborn.
My wife has reminded me of a scenario. There was this student going to A level, and he was given a combination LD, and very excitedly in a prominent school, goes back home and takes the parents the admission later, and it's like the parents wanted the child to do sciences. It's like, hey, you're this excited. Some people are going to heaven, and for you, you're going to hell.
Really?
Yes. And I'm like, really? Did it have to be that serious?
I know.
And this child worked so hard all through his O level, and he has gotten the grades and has gained admission. Not those things of on melt. Has gained admission on melt and is excited. I'm going to do a combination of my of my dream, and the parent is like, hey, other people are going to heaven, and for you being admitted into hell. What impact, dear parents? Let's think together about this. What impact do you think that kind of a comment would have on your son or your daughter? And this is something they've desired all through. And they're going back to school to study for the next 2 years. And that is what is in the back of their mind. Memorizes them.
It can also go on to career. Someone decides a career, they are your child, and the way you respond to it, you're like, no, you can't do that, please. We have paid all the money from primary, actually from nursery. We have paid all the school fees, and you're going to do this job? No, you can't do that. But the way you speak to them, they may never actually apply for another job because of the way you're speaking to them. So it does not matter whether they are young or they are adults, they need reinforcement positively.
I really love this show and where it is taking us. But before maybe we continue, let's take a quick break, because I know the viewer wants to grab a glass of water and allow all this to sink. We will return and you will take it up from that. Well, welcome back from that short break. I am very, very, very happy that you are still watching the Family Hour here at Church of Uganda Family TV. And my name is Clare Bwenje, the world's favorite host. In case you have just joined in, we are with the Matsikos. They are doing a great work here. For a bit, we breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, because this is real. This is real. But before we went off for a short break, they were sharing with us some areas that need extra attention concerning positive reinforcement. And before we left, Emily was actually taking us through. Would you please take it up from that?
Thank you, Claire. And we are talking about academics and career. And what we have to say is that sometimes it is really tough. Sometimes the child is discouraging. And sometimes what they do, you're like, surely I'm wasting my money or I am wasting my time. But this is to encourage you, that get encouraged and also be strong as a parent. And where discipline is required, you do. Sometimes the teachers may tell you this child is actually naughty
Or playful.
or is too playful, and you actually also see it. There you have to act as a parent and discipline the child. Discipline the child. If the child is continuously careless, losing everything that you give them, somehow discipline comes in. Before you give them another time the pain, you ask, okay, what happened? Not just every time they need you give, every time they need you give, but you also have to know that discipline is important, being careful is important, because it is part of what we have to reinforce in academics. Being careful, being responsible is another thing which comes also in academics. So personal responsibility is something else that we have to reinforce as we come to that. When a child is responsible, they will know when to do what and when not to do it. And when they are outside there, they are confident. It will build them up. So building self-responsibility. When you're not there, you are sure that the child or this person is going to take care of themselves. Of course, at a particular age, depending on their age. If a child is 8 years, and if you're not at home, you find that they have not done anything, especially on their body. If they have come from school, they have not removed the uniform, they have not bathed. If you are late and you come at 8, you will find when they just laid down on their beds, or even on the sofa, or on the floor, it means they are not responsible. So being responsible is something that we have to reinforce. And where is that going to take place? It is at home. When you see this child is not taking care of themselves, they cannot brush their teeth, they cannot wash their face unless you tell them, and they are of age. No, it is important that you do it, and definitely starting it earlier, the better for those who still have the young children. And that calls for setting disciplines or having discipline in the home, or you have a way that you run things at home and they know.
Values.
So you have set cultures at home, the way you do things, and the child knows, the children know that when we wake up in the morning, I'll give an example from my home. We, like we have said, we have an 8-old, 6, and then 2.5. They know that when they wake up, they have to wash up, and then they will come read their Bible and pray, and then have breakfast before they go to school. When they come back from school, they know that they have to bathe, take something small like a snack, do their homework, they will pray, and then eat dinner. So even when I am not there, I know that they have to do that. So if you're not there to instill that in them, and when they have grown up, there is something that they will keep doing concerning themselves. They have to know that they have to look for uniform and whatever that they have to do or to put on for tomorrow. Are they prepared? That is also about self-responsibility, teaching the children to be prepared. Preparedness. When you're prepared, you become confident. That means in the morning, they will not forget something that will put them down when they're at school or when they're outside. And even adults.
You see, to add on that, if we're talking about very young children here, if this child prepared the things they had to use at school in the evening, they know where their panties are, they know where their uniform are, their uniform is, their books, the hankies. So at school, this child sneezing will not be like, okay, maybe I better run to the toilet and use the tissue there. What? He's confident. He knows I have my hanky. He will put it out confidently. Okay? He will not be, my shirt maybe is not ironed or something, like feeling small in class. Because he is prepared. He got prepared ahead of time. And so he's in class, he's confident. He's full of esteem. Maybe something else I wanted to mention about the old, you have young adults, and maybe for instance, I know of a friend. He went and bought land on a road on the opposite side. You come from the east and you buy a plot of land on the other side in Chengera or somewhere in Masaka Road, and the parents are like, "You, who does that?" But you're speaking that to someone who has worked for a number of years and has really tried their best. They are not into, these nasty behaviors, but they are genuinely saving their money. Appreciate them first. Oh, thank you. But next time you're investing in property, these are some of the things you should look at. Now, you girl, you have not been married for 10 years. You're here eating my food. Now you have brought this man from this tribe. First, appreciate them. See how to come to terms with it and help them from your end. Put yourself in their shoes. Those are kids that grow up and they find they are on a function. And they say, can we have somebody to pray for the food, for the meal before us? But because they have very low self-esteem, they think they have no worth in community. They even fear to rise up and ask a question or lead prayer or something like that. Because deep inside them, they feel they are, okay, now me, what can I do? Mm-hmm. Okay. But if even these young adults, somebody's there and has started working, has started doing business, but it is not in a line you as a parent would desire them to be. Or you think they are getting married into a culture or a tribe or whatever it is that you're not interested in. Or you think they are venturing into an investment that you have no interest in. Appreciate them. Okay? My daughter, my son, I love the idea. Think that you're going into poultry. But poultry has advantages 1, 2, 3, 4. But on top of that, you are likely to suffer, challenges 1 to Z. From that point, your son or your daughter will also come to you. Oh, so daddy, what did you mean about this? Because they feel confident enough that they can approach and speak to you. Okay? So appreciate them. Words of affirmation. I've had people speaking to their daughters, and I learned this from the Senyonyis, Reverend Canon Dr. John and Dr. Ruth Senyonyi. You know, appreciating your children for who they are. And you know how they would go on appreciating their children. And now I also tell it to my daughter. We have a 2.5-year-old daughter, but I tell her, you're beautiful. Like, hug her, lift her. Let her growing up knowing that she is beautiful. So that one rough evening, she does not meet a rascal on the road and she hears the word beautiful for the first time. Because she knows. But also as I tell her that, she should also work, you know, like she's beautiful, and she does that. So sometimes parents, things that reinforce self-esteem in children, a number of them, it is us as parents to do them, okay? Regardless of the age, whether it is a toddler, whether it is a teenager, whether it is a young adult. I have met young adults, Claire, they come to office and even the way they enter, and somebody sits on the chair like they're sitting on the edge. And like, please take a seat. But you see, they do not vary themselves. And this is a public office, okay? What does that imply? Their self-esteem is this low. But quickly, all these are signs that such a person needs help. And this is how I think we can help them. One, let's appreciate our children. Let's appreciate them. Two, let's use words of affirmation. Without a shadow of doubt, I know my daughter is beautiful. And I tell her that. I know our sons are handsome, and we tell them that. When they come back from school and they have performed, we appreciate them. But also when I find they have done their shoes well, they have tied their shoelaces well, they have dressed well, I appreciate them. I know we have this thinking, especially in the African tradition, that you do not appreciate a child, he or she will be proud. But I'm telling you, yes, true. But that's why my dear wife was saying there is need of that balance of appreciation and discipline. But I think we so much suffer from lack of appreciation than lack of discipline. Let's appreciate them. Let them know, okay, you've made this mistake, but you can do better. Another thing is, let's expose our children. Okay? You've gone to some of these supermarkets and you see kids, grabbing everything and doing all sorts of things. And out of low self-esteem, they think now that they have this one chance to be in the supermarket, they can grab everything. Claire, when you're going shopping, ask Mr. Bwenje, go with your son or daughter, let them walk out. You're like, okay, today we are going to buy the items 1, 2, 3, 4. And I know that you'll be tempted to pray with the others. But I request that we buy these, we'll buy the others another time, the other items another time. So a child goes knowing we are looking for items 1, 2, 3, 4. We have adults, young adults, and you're a parent of a young adult, and you still want to treat them like they are a toddler. Times have changed, Claire. Times have changed. Times have changed. If it is your son or your grandson going to the university and they have asked for the things required to report, for instance, at Uganda Christian University, they ask for a laptop and basic ICT equipment. Let them have them, so that when they're in class, they feel they are part of the class. They don't begin thinking, now me, I'm a second-class citizen in this. I'm
unplanned.
I'm unplanned. So it is important that we have it that way. But also, let your the other way to build up the self-esteem. Let your children know what you're capable of affording for them, especially if they are, above teenage age and the young adults, and they're planning this wedding. Let them know what you think as a parent you desire. Let them know their desires. Come together, talk. Okay? there's some of us old parents, and you want your daughter or your son to do all the things that you missed on your wedding 35 years ago, and you want them to do them. You know, you didn't have a trail on your gown, and you want them to have a trail. You didn't have very bright cameras and decor on your wedding, but you now want them. So sit with these children, talk to them. Okay, this is what is practically possible. This is what is practically affordable. Can we do it this way? So this girl or son of yours goes into marriage knowing, okay, I think I did what I could afford. So he's not going to be intimidated, but you went in a primo, honestly, a primo, to church in a primo. Okay, people are using Range Rovers and Mercedes and whatever types of cars that I may not know. So he feels like I used the primo because it is what I could afford. Okay, so the young adult, your child who is a young adult, goes into marriage a satisfied person. So even when people come, but how would you use a primo? It's like, no, it's okay. It's okay to use a primo. I wedded, and that's what I could afford at the moment, and that's what I used. So his self-esteem is like, okay, nobody is here to demean my marriage. But you also have young adults, as my wife said, who have been so timid even in their workplaces. If I tell people that I'm a salesperson, do you know the reason? From childhood, as my wife said, they have not appreciated who they are. Okay?
Wow, everyone in school is saying, doctor, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a
It's
doctor.
okay to be a secretary. I am a proud secretary for the last about 15 years. Wow. And I gladly do my job. And the encouragement is, I know what God made me to be. And I'm doing that. I'm accomplishing His purpose for my life. I do not have to appreciate Clare's purpose. I do not have to appreciate I do not have to accomplish, no, I should appreciate, but I do not have to accomplish Clare's purpose. My satisfaction, my happiness, my fulfillment, her fulfillment should come from her accomplishing her purpose in life. Wow. My fulfillment should come from appreciating you see, those are the things that build self-esteem. So I can't be there, somebody demeaning me, but now you say it very well. No, I'm thankful for what I am. Yeah. You're a salesperson.
Because actually, what I do, if I told you to do it, you won't manage. So really what you're talking about is so true. Appreciate what others are doing, because the fact that you are not doing it and they are, that means they are better.
So Claire, when a child grows up from a young age, knowing who they are, even if they are gardens attendants, they will do that job with a degree of excellence, okay? Because they are not doing it to impress anyone. If it is a driver or whoever it is, they will do whatever they are doing with this degree of contentment. I am thankful I am doing what God intended me to be. And I will do it with a degree of excellence, with a degree of achievement that everyone around me will be stunned. You see, that is self-esteem. Okay, I'm doing not those things of, okay, you're not a doctor, I'm not saying it's bad to be a doctor or a lawyer. Go and be a doctor, go and be a lawyer. Be what you can and do it with your best. Okay? Without this ill feeling of, now me. You see, that is self-esteem. And it starts from the young child. But even when you have young adults, I'm talking about people up to 20, up to 30 or so, encourage them to appreciate who they are. Help them to realize what they're capable of doing. Help them to realize what they're capable of appreciating, and support them. If it is your child and is in sales and you can support them, be a better person, support them. If they're in managerial positions and they're taking decisions, encourage them, inspire them, and correct them, and rebuke them.
Thank you very, very much. Like I already mentioned, I really love the direction this show is taking this evening. But then I would love Emily to come in here. Well, you mentioned, how parents, we are supposed to, help these children build self-esteem. But in my head, I'm actually thinking that parents who actually have low self-esteem as parents, or you talked about, remembering to pack some stuff like hankies, food for your kids. There are parents actually who never carry hankies, who never pack anything. Like honestly, they actually do not know about all that. And here we are on TV, we are telling them, parents, do this, but themselves they actually do not know about all that. How can you? What's your take on that?
Themselves need to be encouraged to have self-esteem.
Yeah, I may say that we are here to encourage you as well, because we, in a way, somehow we all need reinforcement. Like I've said, at any level, you may find that you need some reinforcement somehow, somewhere. So one of the things, as we have been talking about the things that we need to reinforce in the children, think about it. Am I actually doing it? You can pick it up from here. And those things that we have talked about in particular, and you realize, they are talking about, that's me. Yes, that's you. Your child doesn't do it, and you also don't do it, but you can start doing it now. You can start doing it now, because it is that point. There's always a starting point. It doesn't matter who you are or the level you're at. You can start doing it now, so that what is happening to you doesn't happen to your child. Start doing it for your sake, and more especially for your children. And one of the ways that you can do it is actually starting to do it, preparing yourself. I know we can have a lot, parents, we can have a lot and actually be disorganized ourselves. Yeah, you wake up and you're running, you're going to see the children, and even you do not even mind about yourself. But as you settle down, don't go to sleep before you know that
You have planned for the next day.
for the next day. Do I have a hanky for tomorrow? Do I even have you wake up in the morning, you're going to smear yourself, and the Vaseline tin is empty. So
Wow.
yes, that is real. And you go to the children's bed, they tell you, but ours got finished the other day. They have been going when they are like muhogo on the, because we are not prepared. But let's learn to be prepared. Even when you're tired, just know that it is part of work that you have to do. Like, that I have to maybe shut down that computer before I go home. Just know that one of the ways to shut down for the next day is to prepare for yourself and for the children. And in the morning, you will have where to start from. So I can say that just a discipline of learning to be prepared. And I wanted to add something on what my husband was saying on how we can actually build positive reinforcement for self-esteem purposes. It is that we've got to know who we are in the Lord.
Exactly.
And let the children know who they are in the Lord, not just here or what the world says or what people say about them, but what does God say about them? So this brings us to what we are supposed to reinforce, the Word of God. The Word of God is so important. I may say that it is what has built me personally. The Bible has everything that can actually build us. It has all those teachings. It has those verses that you can stand onto and you actually strong. And for the children, there are verses like, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I know that children can be, struggling with different things about themselves, about their bodies. They can be bullied.
About their teeth.
About how they are. Their eyes, there are those whose eyes are big. There are those whose teeth are outside. There are those whose nose are, big. There are those whose ears are, wider. They can abuse them like, they are like for the elephant, for the what. But knowing that I am wonderfully and fearfully made. Children who are struggling with body issues, they bully you about your body and you feel like, oh God, see how know that you're fearfully and wonderfully
Amen.
Made.
Amen.
And you praise the Lord. That is Psalm 139 verse 14. It tells us, I praise you, Lord, because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And let it be on your mouth. Even if someone says, and they look at you and they laugh and they're like, oh my God, look at that one. No. And you be like, I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
So such
and all that he has done is beautiful. And I know that very well. I know that very well. That will put you to another level. So never look at that. Never mind about that. Me, I used to feel low about my leg. I got burnt when I was very, very young. Sorry. The whole leg from, from the toe up to the knees. Sorry. And it had scars. I used to struggle with it so much. And until I was like, you know what? This is it. And I took it up. I don't mind. I know I have a big leg, so I will not mind. I can even put on short things, not to be indecent, but not to cover because of that. And
she will tell you that those scars are some of the things that were part of the mirror.
Anyway, but another thing is that in such a case, you know that there is something special about you. You may be having that thing that everyone looks at and you feel like this is not right, but there is something beautiful about you, and God put it there for a reason. Do you know something that is special about you? For example, me, I know that I had that problem and I have been very small, but I know that I have Maya and Tugume. So thank God for that and be happy that
Give me 5. You're speaking well. I wish we had more time.
Yes,
I wish we had more time.
Easy to call me. I remember one time we were contesting to become a chairperson school council, and unfortunately, both me, the chairperson school council, and then the head girl, we were both small girls, and they called us Butuduntu. You know, Tuduntu. Those Butuduntus are the ones going to lead us. Let me tell you, it doesn't matter what they call you. God can do something for you. And you know, I knew, because I know surely sometimes you can be knowing that is it, but it is okay. Just tell yourself it is okay, and then move on. And both of us actually won, and we were leaders, even when we were Tuduntus. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So love yourself. Know that the Lord loves you.
Amen.
And he indeed does. You know, Jeremiah 31 verse 3 tells us that he has loved me with an everlasting love. With loving kindness, he has drawn me. So just know that the Lord loves you. That builds the child. Even an old person, when you're low, it builds you. It builds you. So the word of God. And there is this other verse that uses it to help us when we are young, even now. That is in 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 12, that do not let anyone look down on you because you are young, but be an example in your speech, in your conduct, and in holiness. The things you do, do not think yourself so highly than you ought to be. Because that's what Romans tells us. Romans chapter 12 tells us that do not think yourself so highly than you ought to be. So even when we are talking about self-esteem, do not become proud.
I must say, this was a beautiful show, or this is a beautiful show. I appreciate you. You have spoken from your heart. I'm blessed, and I know the viewers out there are blessed. Dear viewers, thank you very much for keeping it Church of Uganda Family TV. Unfortunately, our time is really, really, really fast spent. It is a good night. See you again next Friday.